All right, it looks like it is time. Finally time. I think things are running well. The CPU load is a little bit high today. Again, just pains until the new computer comes in. I'm watching the stream, it's not happy. Let me see if I can make it happier. There we go. It's mildly happier. It's delayed, but it looks happier. All right, so welcome. It is time. We're going to be getting back into the Great Ace Attorney. Things have been a little bit slower as far as streaming goes, and that kind of happens sometimes. I've been doing a little bit of planning, a little bit of cleaning up, making room for the new computer, also doing some stuff just as far as some changes to the stream and artwork and planning and things. So, but like I said on Twitter, this is the one series that I do not stop. Nothing delays the Great Ace Attorney, because this is the stream. This is the main thing that we're doing, and this is what I'm really enjoying right now. So we are going to get right into it. We ended the last trial. It wasn't even a trial. We ended on an investigation, which we knew was going to happen. And we definitely had some interesting revelations. Honestly, not as big as I would have liked, but we did learn some stuff about who the Reaper is, or still could have been. I'm not entirely sold on it. Supposedly it was Gregson, which was my suspicion, or more specifically, Asashin. Oh, by the way, spoilers, again, I keep saying, we're now in the final trial. If you haven't watched the earlier trials, boy, you're gonna learn some stuff you don't want to. But we have learned who's been doing some of the killing, and we still don't know necessarily who the professor is. We don't know who killed Tobias. I have a theory, and I'm just going to throw this out there. It's probably wrong. I don't believe it a whole lot, but I'm just going to say it. I have a theory that maybe the person who killed Tobias was actually Asogi. And the reason I say that is, number one, because maybe he learned that Tobias had something to do with all those incidents back in the day, and he was partly responsible for the whole situation about his dad getting killed and all this stuff. But more importantly, it would instigate a trial if he could, implicate Van Zieks, which is what happened. And now it's giving him an opportunity to ask questions about that whole situation and bring some of that stuff out into the light. So maybe, possibly, it would be an interesting twist. I don't know that for a fact. If it's not him, then it's probably Vortex, because the game needs a big bad, and he's probably the most, likely choice. But we shall find out as we get into it, which we shall do right now. All right, let's flip on over. Let's get right into it. Final. Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. Final. And I believe we're going right into a trial. I have no idea how this trial is going to go, because the investigation we just didn't have a whole lot to do with the actual trial that we're supposed to be running here. We didn't learn a whole lot more about who may or may not have shot Gregson. Even the last trial just ended with Middlemont freaking out. Middlemont/Vigil freaking out. And we got to visit him and stuff, but is there new information? Is there some new theories? Are we going to have new witnesses? I don't know what's going to happen in this trial. All the more reason to get right into it. Oh, here we freaking go. Hell yeah. All right. No intro by Holmes this time. Oh, yeah, we still got to learn about the whole Hound of the Baskerville thing, that bloody collar and all this stuff. Man, even the music's a little bit off today. Everything has a sense of finality. I have no idea how many parts the final chapter is. It's going to be at least 3, I'm sure. Maybe 5. We got a lot to go through. A lot to discover, a lot to uncover, a lot to figure out. So, the time's finally come. Hell yeah, swords and smash. Today we unravel everything. I'll be counting on your support more than ever today, Musuzuto. Boy, that's an expression I don't think we've ever seen before. Boy, we are preoccupied. Yep, that is my preoccupied face. Musuzuto? Why? No. Uncalled for. What's the matter, Mr. Naruhodo? What's the matter is I'm on my ass. That's what's the matter. I was just saying I'll be relying on your support today, but... Oh, I'm so sorry. Of course. I know I can be rather incompetent at times. No, you're the most competent person here besides Iris. I shan't let you down. Just don't drill any more doors than any other doors, all right? Would you mind helping me to my feet then? Oh, dear. I'm really very sorry. Could you at least throw someone else? I want to see you throw Van Zeek's, actually. How much would that cost to see? Suzuto isn't her usual self at all. That's hardly surprising, I suppose. This is probably going to be because of the, yeah, that stuff. She just found out her father is the partner of a world-famous detective. So this game, as you probably have noticed, plays a little fast and loose with the whole Sherlock Holmes mythos. Of course, with Iris being there at all. But now we've discovered that Mikotoba was actually Sherlock Holmes' partner. It wasn't Watson. The only reason Watson's name is even in the stories is because Iris found out some stuff and she thought she figured out what her father's name was. She thought her father was a man named John Watson. And so she started penning under the name Iris Watson and giving the name John Watson to the partner in the stories. Turns out John Watson wasn't the partner. It was Mr. Yukotoba, Suzuto's father. So Suzuto's father is actually the real world Watson, and they've been reunited, and they're off gallivanting about doing God knows what. But of course, the other side to that is, hey, guess what? Mikotoba is Iris's father, which means Suzuto and Iris are half-sisters, and just found out that at the end of the last chapter. So, yeah, she's a little, good morning, sir. A little preoccupied. Sup, Dracula? Lord Van Zeeks. Thank you for all your efforts yesterday. Yeah, he's learned some manners lately ever since we've been in charge of his, his life. What? Did I hear that correctly? What? What? Oh, no, nothing. Just, hope we can clear things up today. I really can't make this man out. His face says I hate you, but his words are almost jovial today. This is just his my everything face. It's that meme with the stormtroopers where they say happy face, calm face, angry face, sad face, and it's just the same face over and over again. This guy's going to smile by the end of all this shit, and I'm going to have a heart attack. In fact, he hasn't been very Reaper-like at all since this all began yesterday. Lord Van Zeeks isn't the Reaper, Mr. Naruhodo. Stop reading my mind. Good point, but stop reading my mind. The Reaper, I suppose in hindsight, I shouldn't have allowed that misconception to go unchallenged. Yeah, you think? It was my tactic acceptance of that pseudonym. My failure to stop the Reaper becoming something more than a mere legend that led to all this. But you're not to blame at all for that, Lord Van Zeeks. It's only because serious crime in the capital dropped off so sharply when the public started calling you that. That's why you didn't say anything, isn't it? To be frank, I'm not sure that was the sole reason. What do you mean? There was a rumor at the time that the Reaper was really the ghost of my late brother. I'm still, I don't know. Either, there's going to be two twists in this game. Either his brother is still alive or his brother was the professor. So this all here, this is probably foreshadowing in some way. That having been slain by that evil killer, Klimt's restless spirit. Let me start that again. That having been slain by that evil killer, Klimt's restless spirit returned to some sort of demigod, to wield a deadly blade of justice where I, by dint of the law, could not. Yeah, we've heard that story too. When I lost him, I felt as though I'd lost my guiding light. I didn't know where to go or what to do. And so, in some small way, I wonder if perhaps those rumors made me feel his absence a little less keenly. Understandable. Even if I knew it was just an illusion, just some nonsense conjured up by an overly imaginative public. He was obviously extremely important to you. Lord Klimt Van Zeeks. Yeah, that stream is choppy as hell right now. I'm really hoping that irons out. Every now and then I'll look at the stream and it'll be like, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. God, I'm looking forward to that new computer. Well, what's important now is uncovering the truth. That's all that matters. I know that you didn't take anyone's life. Do you now? I intend to prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt in court today. Or maybe tomorrow, because this will be a multi-parter, I'm sure. I never thought I'd say this. But I can see it in your eyes. That burning desire to cut through all the lies and deception. I can't deny it any longer. You are a lawyer of absolute integrity. Aw, you're such a sweetie pie. Thank you. Can I get a hug? Now tell me, why do I detect the scent of expensive tea leaves in the air? Iris, are you hiding behind the couch? Oh, Iris, when did you get here? Oh, hey sis, what's up? How's Pop? Oh, I brought you one of my special blends. Holmesy loves it. He says it helps him clear his head. I thank you. Have these two ever talked before? I don't actually know. Oh, tee-hee. That's surely the first and last time I'll ever see a sight like this. Okay, maybe they haven't. You seem different today, Iris. Oh? Sort of subdued, I suppose. Well, she had a big day yesterday. I am not. What happened yesterday is obviously still playing on her mind a lot. She's clearly very troubled about having stolen that autopsy report from Dr. Psy's laboratory. Yeah, that too. All right, then. Good luck to you both. I have to make a move now. Oh, you're not staying? You guys need to start calling each other sis. Do it. Do it. I thought you'd want to watch today's proceedings. Well, I'd like to cheer you on, obviously. But I got lots to get ready. I keep sliding into Gina here. Get ready for what? Oh, yes. Would you take this? What the hell? Is that off her bag? Yeah, it's one of her... What's in it? What have you put in this, Iris? Is there a clue in here? Yes, it's a lucky charm. A little Holmesy that I made once. It's a Holmes. Oh, cute. But it's going in my court record, isn't it? So it means something. A Holmesy? It looks more like a Harley to me. If for some reason you completely run out of options in the trial today, then just pull this little Holmesy's ears as hard as you possibly can. It doubles as a grenade. What? Pull his ears? This is a smoke grenade, isn't it? That's right. It's a way to bring good luck. I think you might need it. It's a smoke grenade. It's totally a smoke grenade. Iris's lucky charm has been entered into the court record. I finally get to bring a weapon into one of these trials. God, it's always the prosecution that's bringing whips and swords and all this other stuff and throwing coffee in my face and choking me with beads. Grenades. Yes, my time has come. You think what we'll need is luck? Nagito? I just sneaked a peek inside the courtroom, and it seemed very different to normal. Still no jury? Yes, it would seem that a certain someone has decided to pull out all the stops. What does that mean? Yeah, who and why? Vortex? What about Mr. Holmes, Iris? Oh, I don't know. He was out all night and he hasn't come back home by the time I left this morning. Presumably Mikitoba is running around with him, so he hasn't had a chance to talk to her dad. Oh, I see. Was Professor Mikitoba out all night too, do you think, Miss Suzuto? Yes, it would seem so. I telegrammed the hotel this morning. And apparently they didn't come back to the rooms last night at all. We haven't seen Jigoku at all lately either. I've been kind of suspicious of him. It was sort of playing on my mind as well, too, that he might be the one that killed Tobias. I don't think that seriously, because he would have had to kill Tobias literally the moment his feet stepped down on English soil. But he's been missing for a bit, too, and that's kind of sus. I'm not sure what's up with that. Father and Judge Jijiko, I mean. Yeah, there we go. Judge Jijiko, too? We haven't seen Jigoku since he came at all. Like, we saw him in the hotel lobby when he checked in, and that's it. Counsel for the defense and defense. Get your friggin' asses in here. Do it. Good luck then, Ryu. Good luck, Susie. Yeah, thanks, Iris. And you, Mr. Reaper. I hope it goes well. Once again, I thank you for the delicious tea. It was very soothing. It was so good I'm giving up on wine forever. From now on, I am a tea man. Oh, I'm so glad. We must go... Excuse me. We must go inside now, Lord Van Zieks. One of these streams, I'm just going to flip everyone's voices completely. Suzuto can have Naruhodou's voice. Naruhodo can have Suzuto's. And it's going to be weird as hell. Lord Van Zieks has always been the formidable prosecutor I've had to lock horns with in court. But not today, or yesterday. Today I battle with another in pursuit of the truth. My best friend, Kazuma Asogi, who I trust more than anyone else in the world. Which is why it's going to suck when it turns out he's the murderer. Now I understand what it was that drew me here to Britain all those months ago. Now I know exactly what destiny had in store for me. It's all been leading up to this one day, to this one trial, to this one final reckoning. Lots to learn. I still have no idea what we're even doing today. Vigil flipped out. And nobody's here. This judge isn't even here. Feels even more oppressive here than it did yesterday. Like, the judge literally is not in this. Yeah, I mean, there's people in the gallery. The judiciary's here. There are cold stares piercing me like knives from all sides today. Ha! Mr. Naruhodo, look! What? Okay. Why is this a thing? Why are you here? What are you doing? How are you the judge? Where's Santa Claus? Christmas has been canceled. What's this about? Cosmo must have known beforehand. Oh, shite balls. Well, this is the third judge we've had in this game. Jeez. Huh. Interesting. So if Vortex does end up being the bad guy, he's quite put himself in the catbird seat now. Good luck getting a guilty verdict on me. Blah. Huh. Can you even do this? I thought you were a... I don't even... You have a forensics department. Why are you the judge? The ramifications of this trial now extend far beyond the murder of one Scotland Yard inspector. In fact, events have come to light that threaten to rock the very foundations of our country's legal system. The escape of a condemned criminal on the night of his execution, the subsequent unlawful shooting of the man, and the revelation that prison staff must have been complicit in the jailbreak. Britain is currently hosting influential members of the judiciary from countries all around the world. It is imperative that we uncover the truth in these proceedings to avoid international embarrassment. By royal decree, this will continue to be a closed trial, and one over which I, Heart Vortex, exercise total and unequivocal authority. I even replaced my toilet handle with a unicorn, because that's how you upgrade a toilet handle. It becomes a unicorn. It just does. Wait. What are we doing? What are we doing? The 6 jurors' flames just... As was the case in yesterday's proceedings, those here present in the public gallery are distinguished members of our judiciary assembled to bear witness to a fair judicial process. Do they have little buzzers on their seats that influence the fireballs? In other words, a collection of your acolytes, Lord Vortex. Oh, he stacked not just the jury, but the gallery. On a personal note, I find this most distressing, Lord Van Zieks. You didn't do it! You are a prosecutor of exceptional talent. Much like your brother Klimt, in fact. You mention my brother again, I'm going to slit your throat. No, that's not what unicorns do. Or sound like when they do that, which they don't. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in... Could you just not get a gavel? Like, just get a gavel. For the trial of Barak von Zieks, who officially stands accused of murder. Counsels for the prosecution and defense, are you in full readiness to proceed? Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. Me too. Yesterday's proceedings brought to light a shocking and disturbing fact. There was a side to the victim, Inspector Tobias Gregson, that was unknown to his superiors at Scotland Yard. Yes, he was carrying out operations in secret, which Scotland Yard knew nothing about. But it's a good thing I changed his voice, because now we'd have 3 people with the same damn voice. And in those clandestine operations, he had an accomplice. Mr. Avery Day Middlemont, who would be given the inspector's identification. Text going off the line again. Yeah, the everyday middleman, a.k.a. Daily Vigil. And presented himself around the capital in order to establish credible alibis for Gregson. In that way, Gregson appeared to be carrying out his regular Scotland Yard work when in fact, he wasn't. At the end of yesterday's session, Mr. Middlemont, who had been suffering from amnesia, regained his memory. Wow, we're 2 for 2 for his name wrecking the text box. Come on, guys. It would appear he buried his memories of the time deep inside himself as a means of self-preservation. If we could get a mod that literally just changed Watson and Sherlock's names, that would be ideal. Because whilst he was engaged as chief warder at Barclay Gallow, he abetted the convict's escape. Mr. Middlemont is currently recuperating at St. Estrude. Okay. It didn't go to the text that time. I was waiting for it. He's recovered enough to give a signed statement about his movements on the day prior to the incident. Yeah, I don't think he's the killer. He's obviously got stuff to do with 10 years ago, but he's in of this one. He's formally admitted to posing as Gregson whilst investigating the Red-Headed League. Which brings us to the crucial issue of the victim's time of death. The one you had told the coroner not to write down. The one you had omitted. The defense yesterday proposed a suggestion that the victim may have been killed one day earlier. This was based largely on the discovery that the victim's pocket watch had not been wound. I mean, that was part of it. The prosecution has something to report on that subject, my lord. Really? Go ahead, Prosecutor Asogi. I met once again with the coroner yesterday to discuss the issue. Yep, as did we. She confirmed that the defense's suggestion could not be ruled out. Yep, she told us that too. It's entirely possible that Inspector Gregson was killed on 31st October, the day before his body was discovered. That passport is going to come into play on that, I think. I have here an updated autopsy report. Edgeworth? That includes the amended details. But the official opinion of the investigation team was made clear yesterday. Oh, is that the narrative you're going to push? Oh, here comes the angry face. That the time of death was 5 p.m. on 1st November. Establishing an alibi, are we? There are indications of an attempt to disguise the real time of death, however. These two are already arguing. I love it. It seems that the natural decaying process of the victim's body may have been slowed by keeping it chilled. That's out of the question. You're already rubbing me the wrong way, buddy. There are no refrigeration devices on that part of London large enough to accommodate a human corpse. Is there snow? My lord, this is more than just conjecture. There's evidence to support the idea. We must investigate it thoroughly. Very well. Yeah, who is the judge to argue with both the defense and the prosecution? The court will accept the new report as evidence. You're damn right you will. However, if this updated report is deemed to be accurate, it would give renewed significance to the movements of the victim on the day before the Fresno Street incident. Okay, that's reasonable. It would, yes. Especially since on that day, Inspector Gregson was using Mr. Middlemont to cover up his real movements. That's 3 for 4 on the text box. Middlemont, you prick. It's conceivable that he was killed in the course of his secret activities. Do I sense that the prosecution has some information regarding those activities? Scotland Yard put an enormous effort into investigating that precise matter yesterday. First we've heard of it. I think we should begin by presenting the results of that investigation work. So the prosecution calls its first witness now. Gina? Knew it. State your name and occupation for the court. Inspector Gina Lestrade reporting. Reaper... What? Oh, I thought she was saying Reaper and then correcting herself. Representative of Scotland Yard. This is the best you could find. She can't even say representative properly. A self-conferred rank, but never mind. Yeah, no kidding. Gina, again? We're not going to make new assets for this, alright? What's your problem, Odo? I've been on like half the trials already. Fucking deal with it. What's with that Gina again, look, eh? Sorry. Stop reading my mind, everybody. The boss meant the world to me. He done more for me than anyone else ever did. Oh? Inspector Gregson, you mean? He got me out of the back slums at the East End and took me under his wing. Taught me that life can have a purpose. So that's why I'm the best person to be standing here speaking for him. Everyone else in Scotland Yard is dead because Gina killed them. She wouldn't let anyone else do this. It's like, you ain't stopping me. Right. All out of the goodness of Gregson's heart. Not at all that he had his arm twisted by Mr. Holmes. Nope. What's relevant to these proceedings is that the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations yesterday has revealed that the victim was carrying out some assignment the police knew nothing about. Very troubling. That face. Lord Vortex knew. So, Inspector Lestrade, let's hear exactly what it says in that report. Coming right up, sir. Where's the dog? All your detectives are supposed to follow orders and investigate what they're told. But our search of the boss's office turned up a notebook that had a load of secret meetings in it. Oh, there's a name in here that we didn't get yesterday. She said it was a foreign name, so she couldn't remember it. It's either going to be the judge or Mikitoba. One of the two, I'm guessing. Hopefully it's not mine. If it's mine, that's going to be a problem. According to that, the boss was looking into some smuggled goods dealings that day. Looks like it was a big job and all, but the coppers weren't onto it yet. What matters most is there's witnesses what saw the Reaper at the place too. Oh, really? All very much news to us. Smuggled goods? I don't know, do I? I was telling you what was written in the book. That was... All Scotland Yard detectives investigate this matter. Hey, here's a book. I don't know, read it in court or something. Tobacco, tea, spices, medicines. Goods of all sorts flown into London by illegal channels from across the globe. It's well known that they're disposed of at regular black markets that take place in the capital. Sandwich? But the police are rarely able to locate them in time. So Inspector Gregson was investigating one of those black markets? It's been suggested that high-ranking government officials may be involved in black market activity. No doubt Gregson was trying to avoid details of investigations being leaked to the involved parties. That would explain why he was operating on his own authority, without the Yard's knowledge. And do we know where the dealings were taking place this time? In a particular room of a certain exclusive London gentleman's club. And on the day in question, the accused is known to have been there. Oh, is he? That's the conclusion of Scotland Yard's investigation into the matter. That can't be. We haven't heard anything about this. Members of the club have testified to it. There's no question. The accused, Barak von Zieks, was present. Can we get a comment from him? That would be very significant testimony then. Oh my, but... Lord Van Zieks has made no mention of this at all. Maybe he didn't want people knowing he went to a gentleman's club, eh? In short, Lord Van Zieks had ample opportunity to murder the victim. There's that smug grin again. Stop beating the unicorn's head against the desk. That's animal cruelty. Very well then. Counsel for the defense, begin your cross-examination. God, he looks pissed. Have you ever been so angry that you slammed a unicorn's head into a wall? All your detectives are supposed to follow orders and investigate what they're told. But our search of the boss's office turned up a notebook that had a load of secret meetings in it. According to that, the boss was looking into some smuggled goods dealings that day. Looks like it was a big job and all, but the coppers weren't on it yet. What matters most is there's witnesses what saw the Reaper at the place too. So that's all I've got to work with. Gina's not holding back with that ice-cold stare of hers, is she? I really don't know what to make of all this. Lord Van Zieks told us that he was investigating Inspector Gregson, but he never once mentioned that he met the inspector the day before the incident. You don't think Lord Van Zieks could have been lying to us, do you? That's not the only way to explain this. Oh? If everything Lord Van Zieks has told us is true, then there must be a mistake in this testimony somewhere. You mean there are details we've yet to uncover? Exactly. A clue, perhaps, that even Gina hasn't noticed. That or someone wrote something in the book that isn't necessarily true. Did you guys actually investigate stuff, or did you just bring this book in here? I just have to ask, Gina. That's what we should be looking for here. Time to press the hell out of her. All your detectives are supposed to follow orders and investigate what they're told. Yeah, hold it. So, you follow orders, do you, Gina? Nah, not me. I'm above all that, see? Saw that coming. Oh. The boss always had special orders for me. Grab us some fish and chips, sir. Go give Toby his grub. That kind of thing. So, errands more than orders, then. This detective is still an apprentice, after all. Yeah, well, this apprentice ain't more to sit around waiting to be told what to do, even by the boss. That's why I've been doing my own investigations into what happened. I didn't find much at first. But a search of the boss's office turned up a notebook that had a load of secret meetings in it. So you went through Inspector Gregson's things? Yep, says it proudly, as part of the Inspector Lestrade investigation. I'm sure your superiors would be delighted that you're taking the initiative. So I snuck into his office when no one else was about. Because if anyone at the yard had seen me going in there, they'd have turfed me straight out on the street. This is sounding less and less like an investigation and more like something else. Which she's just casually saying on the stand like nothing. The prosecution understands that it was this very detective who discovered the notebook. You got that right. Nothing gets past Inspector Lestrade and a trusty assistant, Chief Inspector Toby. I found it hidden in one of his desk drawers that had a false bottom. That's impressive. So then I went to hide myself where no one could find me so I could have a butcher's at what was written in it. Because if anyone at the yard had found me out, they'd turned me straight out on the street. Yeah, you already mentioned that. See, this is where I'm kind of wondering, okay, well, what's that name that she saw? Because we haven't heard that yet, and I'm assuming that's going to come out here. Ha! I've given it now, though, ain't I? As if it weren't for me, it would never have been found. Whoop. Wait, did I skip something? I think I pressed that. Yeah, okay. Something was weird there. Things okay? Alright. Anyway, do you have any idea where those dealings were taking place? I think my mouse wheel moved the testimony one way or the other. Yeah, it was all there in the boss's notes. I'll see if I can remember. Where's the name? As I already said, the illegal dealings were due to take place at a gentleman's club. Yeah, I remember, but I was hoping to find out the name of the club. That won't be necessary. Says you. It's conceivable that the club might be used again by the smugglers in the future. Therefore, the prosecution has been asked not to reveal the name in these proceedings. I don't know what the fuss is about. It's right here. All I gotta do is read it out. And I could too. I got this reading game buttoned up now. I got this reading game buttoned up now. What a sentence. Can I show you what I can do? Go on. What's the harm? The judge hasn't signaled his objection yet. I could try to find out. What should I do? I mean, let's... If they're giving me the option, it must be important. Let's give it a bash. This is a closed court. The proceedings are confidential. That's what I was thinking. There shouldn't be any possibility of the information being leaked. As I explained, there is some possibility of politicians being involved in this affair. The prosecution is rightfully exercising caution, I imagine. Are you going to let it slide? No, my lord. The prosecution has no objection. What? That's not what I told you to say. Kazuma? There's no question that Inspector Gregson was looking into these black market dealings. However, it's not yet been established that he was on that particular trail on the day in question. If the defense requires to know the club's name, the prosecution has no intention of being obtrusive. Boy, this name must be really important with the build-up we're having to it. Good lord. Right then, I get to read. Sweet. I get to show off my reading skills. LeVar Burton, check me out. Apparently, the smuggled good dealing was happening at a gentleman's club called the Ballabrook. Okay, maybe that's not as important as I thought. The Ballabrook. The what? That replaced the old testimony, so let's roll on in. The Ballabrook? What sort of a name is that? I ain't got the foggiest. Clubs ain't exactly my thing. But I am kind of curious. Planning to go tonight. They're not really places where a foreign student like you would be readily admitted. Have you looked in the mirror recently? I'll tell you what, my Aunt Chief Inspector Tovey could go in undercover. Could you though? Could you really? I could pick out a few good marks and see what else I could find out while I was in there. I mean, if Susato could disguise herself as a boy, maybe you could get away with it. I really don't think you should go picking out anything. Anyway, that's where these black market dealings are going to take place, is it? Yes, got to be. That's what the lower rank detectives at the Yard reckon. Says the even lower rank detective. That's it? That's all we got from that? Looks like it was a big job and all, but the coppers weren't onto it yet. So how would Inspector Gregson come to find out about it in that case? That's the question, ain't it? But I'm just an apprentice, so why didn't he inform Scotland Yard of his findings? Yeah, that's what I was asking myself, because, you know, I'm just an apprentice. When it suits you, yes. Yeah, no kidding, eh? Anyway, the point is something went on at that club, no question. You can't say that for certain, though, surely. That was a quick one. What matters most is, there's witnesses what saw the Reaper at the place, too. Okay, this is the interesting one. Lord Van Zeeks was at the club? He was. Detectives who visited the club yesterday to make inquiries have confirmed it. Several members reported having seen the accused being admitted to the room in question as a guest. It looks like there's no disputing that he was there then. Well, we know that Lord Van Zeeks was investigating Inspector Gregson, don't we? Perhaps he'd already discovered the inspector's secret notebook. Which led him to the club, you mean? Maybe. I think he did say he was investigating his office, so that tracks. Presumably, then, there are also eyewitnesses who can testify that Gregson was there. Not so much. None have been identified at this time, no. So the all-important victim wasn't seen at this mysterious club. Oi! Why are you asking Inspector Lestrade here, eh? Because you don't know, you're just an apprentice. So that's all I got to work with. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So... a clue that Gina hasn't noticed. Okay, well... what do we got here? I believe we pressed that. That's not where she... I think we pressed it. Anyway, let's see what we got here. Yeah. 8 tons of evidence is what we've got. We got the bunny. Can I pull the bunny now? Klim's autopsy report. Passport. This isn't anything... no. Oh, wait a second, maybe. No. Okay. I thought maybe it would say he left on the day we're talking about. It's like, well, then, you know, he clearly wasn't there. Klim Van Zeeks. This isn't going to matter. What happens if I investigate this? Can I pull the ears? Okay, not yet. Leave that for later. This is just this. Nothing interesting. We didn't get any new evidence, did we? We just got the rabbit. Doesn't matter. 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 Nothing in here? Red-Headed League. Was this the day? I guess there's no date on this, so we can't really use it as evidence for the thing. That's not going to matter. What's on the back of this again? Because this is Mikotoba's thing, right? Oh, I haven't actually inspected this yet. I can't skip the text. Oh, no, wait. I have seen this. That just makes me sound extremely untrustworthy. I feel like I've read that. I'm really not sure that would help. This is just his ticket. Oh, it looks like this is some sort of steamship ticket. Steamship. Wait a minute. What? Wait a minute. What? The SS Ballabrook. That's the name of the gentleman's club. Wait. Huh? Mikitoba, what have you been up to? It doesn't say Babblebrook on the actual graphic. It says Blackbird Line. Departure. That's the boat that Professor Mikitoba and Judge. Yeah. I feel like we read all this already. Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah, and you lost yours. No, you don't. How strange. Where could it have gone? Yeah. Oh, we didn't. We didn't. Huh. Why did that just get updated now? Did I remember incorrectly? I'm pretty sure we looked at that. I mean, the instant he handed it to me, I'm pretty sure I would have... Whoops, I didn't want to look at that. I mean, I just investigated it now because it looked so blank, and I was like, what's on the other side of this again? I'm pretty sure it was a steamship ticket. This is nothing. Well, we can only magnifying glass this, right? Yeah. This is nothing. I mean, I guess we've hit upon what we need through pure luck there, but how does that contradict anything? Apparently the smuggled goods deal was going to happen at a gentleman's club called the Babblebrook. I mean, I can prove it's not a gentleman's club, but what does that do for me? The SS... that. Babblebrook. Whatever. Was there, like, times on here? Hang on, let me skim through this real quick. 101. Yokohama departure, London arrival. So he couldn't have been there because it didn't arrive at in London until the 1st. Okay. That's a contradiction. That's a big contradiction. All right. That we can present. This has got to be it. Okay. I've read about these clubs that exist here in Britain. As I understand it, they're places where well-to-do gentlemen socialize with friends and colleagues. Don't imagine for a second that a foreign student like you would be admitted. Get that smug grin off your face. Is your mirror cracked or something? Do we know for sure that the contraband dealings were definitely happening at a club called the Babblebrook? The police are currently looking for evidence, but haven't found anything definitive yet. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You guys literally just found this notebook and submitted it. That was all the work you did yesterday, wasn't it? And I'm sorry to say that they probably won't. What do you mean by that? I mean that the place Inspector Gregson was secretly going to visit on 31st October may not have been a gentleman's club at all. Also, it wasn't there. You're showing a very irrelevant attitude toward our country's police force there, Counsel. If it wasn't a gentleman's club, then what was it? A steamship. You think it's a ship. I have the evidence to prove it here. Let me see that. This dark-suited young man is not in the least bit untrustworthy. Other side. Other side there, my lord. Be more specific next time. Haven't you played these games before? People think paper only has one side. This would appear to be a ticket for passage upon a steamship, yes. The SS Babblebrook. Can't two things have the same name? I don't know. So there's a steamship named the Babblebrook that happens to share a name with the club. That's my attitude. But I'm afraid to say, there's a flaw in your logic there. How? Look at the ticket. Notice the date of arrival in port. Yeah, that's what I noticed. The ship arrived at the port of Dover on 1st November. The day on which the sound like a gunshot was heard on Fresno Street. In other words, on the day in question here, 31st October, when the victim was in his clandestine mission, that ship hadn't yet docked on British shores. That would certainly make an undercover investigation somewhat challenging. The fact that the steamship hadn't yet reached Britain substantiates the defense's assertion that the victim was investigating the SS Babblebrook on the day in question. Then show your evidence for that assertion. Oh, are they saying he was on his way back from France? Well, there should be other things in the notebook that can corroborate that, because if he was gone for a week and all of his notes were not local for a week, then you'd think. Stop torturing the unicorn. In that case, counsel for the defense, present your evidence to the court now. Evidence that substantiates your claim that the victim was investigating the SS Ballabrook on 31st November, probably the passport. Date of departure, within 1 week, blah, 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 blah. And what, he was thrown off the boat? Like, how'd he get back? I'm assuming this is it. What's this? A passport for travel issued to the victim. Dated 31st October. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that just 1 day before the inspector's body was discovered, there is a distinct possibility he wasn't even in the country. Dun dun dun. Order, order. I will smash this unicorn to pieces. This document is for passage to France. It does appear to have been officially authorized. The day before the SS Ballabrook arrived in Dover, it docked on the northern coast of France for a night. According to my father, who was on board at the port of Dunkirk. Dunkirk, France. What could possibly have taken the victim there? You know. And you think it's hilarious. I'm impressed, RYUUNOSUKE NARUHODOU. I certainly didn't expect you to get your hands on that passport. What? You mean you knew about this? And withheld it? The prosecution's strategy for this trial has been laid down by the Crown Prosecution Office. On the day before the incident, the victim was investigating contraband dealings at a London club. That's the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations, by which they found his notebook, and the line the prosecution has been asked to follow, which I'm going to ignore now. But personally, I don't agree. I think the prosecution's office is trying to hide something. What? Vortex, what do you have to say about that? And now that you've expertly disproven their assertion, I intend to reveal what I believe that something to be. What are you playing at, Prosecutor Asogi? This is why I'm sitting in as judge. I knew this was going to happen. A courtroom is a forum for the truth, my lord. Which is why it's my duty to present all the facts, without exception. Let me guess. This was your intention from the outset, wasn't it? The reason Inspector Gregson secretly made his way to the steamship docked in France on the day in question was to carry out a mission for the Reaper. The Reaper? That is so wrong. Order, order. What are you saying, counsel? Oh, hey, Coffin Cuddles. I didn't even see your comment there. You could have made that like an hour ago. I wasn't even looking. Thanks for joining, by the way. The prosecution made an assertion in court yesterday. I'm just kind of into this. Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper. When he discovered the location of the man's secret hideout, he was killed. It was Coffin Cuddles. She did it. As I'm sure everyone can imagine, by the Reaper's hand. Boy, my voice got a little bit more evil for that bit there. But in reality, the truth is the opposite of that. What? Inspector Gregson wasn't investigating the Reaper at all. He was, in fact, acting for the Reaper. So, you're saying the mission he was undertaking was, obviously, as an assassination. Aha. What's the name of that book? Baron von Zeeks never carried out any of the actual killings. Whenever the Reaper's victims lost their lives, he always had a cast-iron alibi. Which tells us that he must have had an accomplice. And you claim that was Inspector Gregson. Who's holding it? Oh, there we go. Oh, this is probably the first she's hearing of Gregson being the Reaper. Yeah, no wonder she's... I'm surprised he didn't speak up sooner. What the hell do you think you're saying, eh? My boss would never have done something like that, or nothing like that even. And yet, when you consider all the facts, it all makes perfect sense. No, I can't be. What was the name in the notebook? I want to know. We also arrived at the same conclusion, didn't we? That Inspector Gregson was operating as the Reaper. Well, that and assassin. Even so, there's no way that the person giving him his orders was Lord Van Zeeks. No, the true Reaper's someone else. Baron Von Zeeks is not the Reaper. A predictable response from someone who's advocating for the man. And even if it's true that Gregson was operating as an agent of the Reaper, the suggestion that he went aboard the SS Ballabrook on an assassination mission doesn't follow at all. Oh, you have some solid reason for doubting the assertion, do you, Counsel? I mean, I have to assume it's because, like, who would he be assassinating? Who's in France? You know, it's not Albert. It's not Doobie Doobie Doo or Hairbrain or whatever you want to call him. It's not Gina. It's not Suiseki. Who else would it be? Absolutely. It's very simple. On the day in question, nobody was killed aboard the steamship. Professor Mikotoba and Judge Jigoku were on that very ship. Oh, but this... See, I'm still not trusting Jigoku. He's tied up in this in some way. What if Gregson was meeting with him? If someone had been assassinated, I'm certain we would have heard about it. Here's another theory that kind of came to mind. I'm still playing with that idea of the 4 names on the disc. God, the stream is starting to hiccup again. The 4 names on the metal disc, Watson is still kind of an odd one out because he doesn't really have anything to do with anything. What if that Watson, or whoever wrote that, what if they made the same mistake Iris did? What if it's actually Mikotoba? Which meant Gregson was meeting with him. I still think Mikotoba's hands may not be entirely clean in this affair either. One of the 2 of them is responsible in some way. One of the 2 of them is involved somehow. They keep making a bit about Jigoku making a scene at the old trial as well. So I don't know. Lots of possibilities. But the fact that they were both on the same steamboat can't be a coincidence. If someone had been assassinated, I'm certain we would have heard about it. Pfft. What's so funny? You're right, of course. No suspicious deaths were reported on board the ship. But I think perhaps you've missed the point. That's precisely why Inspector Gregson himself lost his life. What? Gregson did board the SS Ballabrook that night, with the intention of dispatching his mark. But his mission ended in failure. Failure? It seems that the defense hasn't yet grasped a very important detail here. What are you talking about? What detail? Inspector Gina Lestrade. Eh? What? The victim's notebook that you read an excerpt from earlier. That doesn't contain details of secret investigations at all. It describes 10 years of assassination plots to be carried out by the Reaper of the Bailey. You're lying! Even if all them bludgers what got taken out of coming. The boss want the Reaper. Poor Gina. There's no question that Tobias Gregson was heavily involved in the Reaper's activities. You may just be an apprentice, but if you've spent any time at Scotland Yard, you must have heard rumors. I ain't heard nothing, and I don't believe a word of it. Then testify again, as a representative of Scotland Yard, if you can even say the word this time. Consider it your chance to defend your boss. I don't. Ow, unicorn! I concur. The witness will give a new formal testimony. Great. Miss Lestrade, you will tell the court everything you know about Inspector Gregson's secret notebook. Do it. Do it, do it, do it. I want to see that notebook. Put it in the evidence so I can read the name in it that you can't. Yeah, this notebook does have lots of stuff at what the Reaper's been up to these past few years. Names of victims, dates of places and stuff. And the last entry in there was 31st October. It says Ballabrook for the place on the date, and then the name of the mark. Oh, now you are calling it a mark. There was a note about him being a criminal what got away from the Reaper in court 10 years ago or something. Oh, it's definitely going to be Jigoku or Mikotoba. It's got to be. But honest, the boss didn't do none of it. I was just investigating the Reaper is all. Oh, it has to be. Tell me the name. Do it. Keep personal opinion out of your testimony, witness. We require only established fact here. This must be so hard for her. You can't deny it now, surely, Ryuunosuke Naruhodo. What can't I deny? I thought we were agreeing. The notebook contains the name of the final mark and the location where the assassination would take place. That's information that the victim could only have known if he was working with the Reaper. Not disagreeing with that, just saying it's not Van Ziek's. So, who was to be this final mark? Say it, say it, say it. Go ahead, Inspector Lestrade. Read the name for the court. The name that's written alongside the entry that mentions the Ballabrook on 31st October. How do you read this then? I can't read no hiragana. Reading's still not a strong suit. That ain't the problem, alright, Otto? It's a funny name. It ain't English. It's all to read. So it's someone from overseas? It's either Jigoku or Mikito. Sashiro. Sashiro. It's Sashiro Jigoku. Let me have a bash at it then. Sashiro, is it? Sashiro Jigoku. Yeah, Sashiro. Jigoku, maybe? What? So it is going to have something to do with Seshiro making a scene. Seshiro Jigoku. Saw that coming. But that's Judge Jigoku. Seshiro Jigoku. Certainly not an English name, you're right. But that can't be right. I know Judge Jigoku, and I saw him the day before yesterday here in London. So I know for a fact that the man hasn't been assassinated. As I said, the Reaper failed. Oh, right. Gregson missed his chance to kill his mark and returned to British shores. But the Reaper wouldn't tolerate the mistake, so he killed the inspector. Personally. The Reaper, of course, being the accused. Barak von Zieks. It's an undeniably logical argument. Kazuma, you planned for the trial to go this way all along, didn't you? Van Zieks? Van Zieks? Van Zieks? Van Zieks. And he's drunk. Oh, and he's axe-kicking. Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice while I stand accused of murder. Also pray forgive axe-kicking the witness stand. Also pray forgive I speak out of turn. Also Gina is still there. Lord Van Zieks! The accused has no right to speak uninvited in court. You will return to the dock. Kiss my ass. I say nothing of whether or not I'm the Reaper. That's the task of this court to decide. But there is one thing I can say unequivocally. That girl is no detective. Also, I've smashed every glass I've ever tried to drink from. I've got 57 gallons of wine at my office, and I'm sober as fuck. What? No, that's right, I ain't. I'm an inspector. Repeating rumors heard around the yard. Reading entries from a notebook of unconfirmed origin. That's not testimony. It's practically a script. No doubt the rest of this trial will go exactly as you've clearly planned. Your hatred of me is understandable. In your mind, I'm sure I am the Reaper, who sent your father to the gallows all those years ago. But you're in danger of becoming a far more sinister Reaper yourself, by attempting to have me condemned with this feeble excuse for testimony. Getting called out, Kazuma. What you gonna do about it? Mr. Naruhodo, this is our chance. My lord, the defense requests that the defendant be allowed to speak. He may be privy to important information related to the testimony just given by the witness. That is the most impractical gavel ever. No. Stop. That is... No. No! Very well. I'll make an exception and grant the request. The defendant may remain in the witness stand for the cross-examination. We're going to have to pursue him on something Gina says, I'm sure. I want to see you actually drink from that one of these days. Like, prove to me those glasses aren't just for smashing in dramatic fashion. Then allow me to toast the court's impartiality. Do it. Take a drink. I dare you. Don't raise your glass in my direction, sir. Counsel for the defense. Begin the cross-examination immediately. You know he's not going to drink it. Why do you care? That carpet is going to be soaking wet underneath him by the end of this. At once, my lord. Alright. Yeah, this notebook does have a lot of stuff about what a Reaper got up to the past 10 years. Names of victims, dates and places and stuff. And the last entry in there was 31st October. It says Ballabrook for the place on that date, and then the name of the mark. There was a note about him being a criminal who got away from the Reaper in court 10 years ago or something. That'll be interesting to hear about. What crime did Jigoku commit? But honest, the boss didn't do none of it. He was just investigating the Reaper, that's all. Jigoku, what'd you do? So that's what we have to work with. It may help that Lord Van Zieks is in the stand too. Yeah, maybe. I'm sure Gina knows nothing she hasn't already told us, though. There's no point trying to get more out of her. Did you notice how Kazuma reacted to Lord Van Zieks' words? When he called him an even more sinister Reaper, you mean? Well, I'm sure Kazuma intends to eliminate any shred of doubt that the man is guilty. He's looking for revenge against the person he considers to be his father's killer, after all. Never mind the fact that his father was an actual killer. I do worry that if we fail to find a discrepancy in this testimony somewhere, the trial may end and adjudication won't go in our favor. Let's listen carefully again to what everyone is saying. Time to press all the things. In other words, it shows that Gregson was basically acting as the Reaper. Not you and all. This ain't the only explanation, is it? He could have been investigating the Reaper in secret, and that notebook said what he found out. If I may. When originally people began referring to me as the Reaper, I didn't object. I believed the power to intimidate London's criminal classes into compliance with the law to be beneficial. But you carried out your own investigations into the true identity of Reaper, didn't you? Yes, and those investigations proved conclusively that Gregson was one arm of the Reaper. One arm? What you going on about? The Reaper's victims were all extremely shrewd criminals at the top of their game. There's simply no way one person could have taken them on alone. The Reaper is an organization. With you as its head? I had spies at the yard keeping me abreast of Gregson's movements, letting me know when he was elsewhere. So I'd been able to check the most recent entry in his book. I knew the location. You knew it said Ballabrook. Believing it to be a reference to the Gentleman's Club, I went there on the day in question to investigate, alone. So there is a gentleman's club called the Ballabrook. Why didn't he just say he was... Well, I guess Kazuma wanted to drop that line of reasoning, so he was happy to just be like, yeah, whatever, it's a ship, moving on. Ah, so that explains why several members of the club claimed to have seen you there. But of course the inspector was not there. Because at the time he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France, as shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. Very well then, back to your testimony about the contents of this notebook. Fine. Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? You seemed a little shocked by something a moment ago. Yeah, what was that about? Oh, no, it's all right. I'm overthinking this, aren't I? Is it just because Kazuma knew about the trunk? Because I think that's the only comment he made. Names of victims, dates and places and stuff, and the last entry in there was in 31st October. Names of victims, dates, places and stuff. What in particular? Well, besides the victims' names, this other name kept cropping up. Yep, Asa. What other name was that? It's the one I told you yesterday. The same name written over and over again. You mean Asa Sheen? Yeah, that's the one. She's a friend of yours or something, is she? Were you even listening yesterday? Asa Sheen. The assassin. What? Like a killer, you mean? Gregson was the tactician, the one who came up with the plan of attack. He investigated the marks thoroughly, finding out when they would be vulnerable and who to use to get at them. But the person actually executing his plans was someone else, you say. If that's true, then the Reaper does indeed start to sound like an organized group of vigilantes. Ah, then perhaps what it said on the passport document... Wait, what was on the passport document? Permission for the applicant and one additional person to travel. Could that additional person... Oh, okay. We thought that to mean Gina, because we thought he was taking Gina with him when he got transferred to France. But it couldn't have been Asa, because she's dead. Or maybe there's someone else? Clearly the assassin, who was meant to take Shishiro Jigoku's life. Gina, can you confirm that? Against the final entry that lists Ballabrook and Shishiro Jigoku? What name was written? Oh, that's the only entry that didn't have a name next to it as it happens. What? It just had like a question mark or something there, I think. In other words, Gregson himself didn't know the identity of the assassin in that case. Oh, that'd be interesting. But Gregson was the one making the plans, was he not? Oh, how infuriating. A nameless assassin. Well, that's interesting. That's a new thing. I said Ballabrook for the place on that date, and then the name of the mark. Hold it. Maybe it'll be Kazuma because he knew about the trunk or something. If it is, that'd be weird. Boy, wouldn't you get taken off the case right away? The prosecution is the assassin. Who else would it be, though? No name springs to mind. And you're saying that the mark listed was Shishiro Jigoku? Wouldn't it be funny if Gregson was actually grooming Gina to be an assassin so that she could be his new partner? I don't think that's the case. She seems quite sincere in her rage about this, but yeah, that'd be fun. You could be Batman to his, Raja Ghul. That's what I said. Funny name if you ask me. And I thought your name was odd. Wait, your name is odd. Haha, see what I did there? So pleased to have lost my crown. Mr. Jigoku is the presiding judge of Japan's Supreme Court of Judicature. I remember the man. He came to our country as a visiting student 16 years ago, studying international law and diplomacy under your tutelage, Lord Vortex. That bearded young fellow was a very able man, I must say. Yeah, everyone should identify him as the bearded man, because, my god. So Lord Vortex was Judge Jigoku's mentor. Maybe they're all in this organization. If I'm not mistaken, he returned to Japan 10 years ago now. 10 years ago, after that fateful case. 10 years ago. Take a sip every time someone says 10 years ago. Precisely. In the aftermath of the professor cases, repatriation was organized immediately. Whatever. He's getting kicked out of the country. It's a mystery why such a man would be listed in the inspector's notebook. I didn't think it was possible, but the mood in here got even worse now. Maybe I'll just keep talking. Did her hat just levitate out of her head? That was a weird animation glitch. There was a note about him being a criminal who got away from the Reaper in court 10 years ago or some of that. Let's hear about that. What do you mean a criminal? Judge Jigoku's no criminal. Well, don't ask me. I don't know nothing about it. Oh, do you remember what Father told us? The Judge Jigoku did once appear in court here in Britain. Yep, he did. He just made a scene, but he wasn't really charged with anything. It was related to the professor case, I'm sure. Yeah, of course, you're right. Shishiro was trying to mitigate Jinshin's guilt, so he took to the stand to testify. But he got a little carried away and actually managed to break the witness stand. He also said some contemptuous words about the British Empire, for which he was charged. Okay, so that's what he was charged with. He badmouthed the judge and got away with it. And for that, he is sentenced to death. It was a pitiful situation, yes. I'd forgotten all about it, but I prosecuted that trial too, as it happens. Aha! So someone else did get away from the Reaper. It was considered to be an adjunct to the professor's proceedings, you see. But he was acquitted after being told to make reparation for the damage caused to the stand. Aha! Interesting. And there you have it. Have what? Surely the accused hasn't forgotten his own rule. That there's no saving anyone who faces the Reaper in court, guilty or innocent alike. What? No! Are you suggesting that the reason Judge Jigoku was targeted for assassination? The man was sent back to Japan immediately after that trial. The Reaper had no time to do his work. But then, 10 years later, the mark returns to Britain once more. Perhaps now you start to see just how vindictive the Reaper is. Come on, that's absurd. To take someone's life for that? Isn't the whole premise of the Reaper absurd? Killing those who have been found innocent. Clearly the rules by which the man operates are beyond a sane person's comprehension. But, is he in the stand? He might be hearing this. Who's this? Oh, Gina. Right, I've had just about enough of this. All right, you're about to introduce some new evidence, aren't you? All this nonsense about the boss planning to kill people is cobblers. Come on, Otto. Oh, my name's Odd again? Yeah? Why aren't you saying nothing? Why aren't you yelling out objection or something? What? You gotta find a flaw. You do usually. We haven't gone through the whole testimony yet, I don't think. Someone's lying here, no question. You gotta work out who it is. Please, for the boss. Slam. So dumb. That outburst was an insult to the court and to your own testimony. I might have known that a common pickpocket from the back slums couldn't make a detective. Hey, be nice to Gina. She's trying. When this trial is over, you will forfeit your warrant card, Miss Lestrade. Is that clear? I've had it with the lot of you. It's lies every bleeding place you look in this world, isn't it? Well, I've had enough. Aw, come on. Gina was just starting to reform and learn to be a good person. Don't tear her down. Gina. So have I. After that little speech of Gina's, I made up my mind. To do what, Mr. Naruhodo? We're going back to Japan? There was one point in this cross-examination when something that was said just didn't sit right with me. One statement that seemed odd. Am I going to have to point it out? Because I have no idea. Oh, do you mean? I'm not going to let Gina's plea for help fall on deaf ears. Wait, what? What? Wait, what? What happened? Okay, I pressed this. This changed. Oh, piss. Am I going to press this and then I'm going to have to pick a statement? He reacted to something Kazuma said about the trunk. I'm not sure why, though. Does it mean that Kazuma knew something? I don't remember exactly what he said. But does it imply that Kazuma knew something he shouldn't have and that he was there? Is that going to be the thing? I don't even remember what the statement used to be. Well, in the spirit of Gina, let's give it a butcher's. I want to thank you, Gina. You helped me find my resolve. Oh, he said the thing. Eh? What do you mean? Kazuma, you said something you didn't. You pulled a what's-his-face from Apollo Justice. Can't keep your mouth shut. Apparently everything we've heard during this cross-examination, there's one thing that defies explanation. One inconsistency. What? An inconsistency. Really, Otto? I don't quite know what it means yet, but... yeah, there's an inconsistency in something that was said by... I don't even remember the statement. I just remember me reacting to it. Am I going to have to pick out Asogi? Is it going to be this? I don't even remember what the comment was. Is it? By you, Kazuma Asogi. Me. Is this some attempt at filibustering counsel? Prosecutor Asogi has given no testimony. What are you suggesting I said that was inconsistent? You let something slip that you shouldn't have. When I present the relevant piece of evidence, I imagine you'll realize what you've done. What? No! Stop with the unicorn. Well then, counsel, go ahead. We are going to get visited by PETA so hard. What evidence reveals this alleged inconsistency in something prosecutors... I don't even remember the statement. I just remember it was about the trunk. Is it the trunk? Let's open this sucker up. Oh, I can't skip. Am I going to have new comments? That's right. We examined the hell out of this thing and we didn't get any new evidence. It was weird. We examined the blood. What about this thing? Is this going to be part of Kuruma? Did you break your beloved sword? You see this huge gash along the side of the trunk. It's gone right through the leather and into the metal behind. Gosh, for a metal chest like this to have been so badly damaged. Whatever made the gash must have struck the side of the trunk with considerable force. I wonder how it happened. Yeah, I don't get evidence for that either. I just want to examine the hell out of this thing before I present it, just in case the text changes in some way. I think the only thing we got out of this was the passport, and that was it. For all the examining we did. Look at this dark stain here, do you think? Yes, I'm afraid so. I think it's blood. Ugh, I knew you were going to say that. So that presumably means that this thing was present at the scene when Inspector Gregson was killed. It's the most logical conclusion, yes. To think Jean has been carrying this around with her. If you didn't know any better, I suppose it does look like a grease stain from all the fish and chips. Dude, if your grease looks like that, I would not eat that food. We've already examined the passport. I don't think there's anything else to do in here. We'll examine the passport again to be safe. But I think this is the thing we need. This is the only thing I remember him mentioning. It appears to be a passport. Or, excuse me. It appears to be a passport authorizing him to travel overseas. The one time I need a flashback from this frickin' game, and it doesn't give me one. Was Inspector Gregson about to go on a trip abroad? Perhaps the date of departure might tell us something. That was... Oh! What is it? It was for travel on 31st October, just one day before the incident. What? Really? Gregson went to France the day before his body was discovered? Alright, nothing new. Huh. Well, if it's not this, I'm going to have to go back and look at what it was, because I don't know what it was. He mentioned the trunk. I remember him saying that. Give me the flashback. What did he even say? This is a trunk that belonged to Inspector Gregson. Did he mention it being damaged or something? A metal construction, is it? And certainly very heavy. What's this? A bloodstain. And a relatively fresh one, too. Oh, shit. What? You mean that ain't grease from all the boss's fish and chips? Fresh blood on the inspector's trunk. Inspector Lestrade, everyone. Da-dun. That suggests that the victim was traveling with that luggage when he was killed. That can't be. There was no mention of any trunk in Scotland Yard's report. We talked about it during the trial, asshole. Yeah, there's a reason for that. Immediately after the inspector's body was discovered, one of the street peddlers made off with the trunk, hoping to sell it. But I found it! Me! With my nose for trouble. It was Toby's nose. Which means that nobody should have known anything about the trunk. Unless, of course, we're talking about someone who was present when the victim was killed. Maybe I was right about Cosima killing Toby. And yet, during the cross-examination of the witnesses just now, you said this, Cosima. Okay, let's have the actual flashback. What did you say? Because at the time he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France, as shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. That's it? That's all he said? Damn. So the question is, how did you know about the inspector's trunk? We know the man went on a trip to France. Where else would he have put his passport? Nice try. But you knew it was a metal trunk. Answer me honestly, Cosima. On 31st October, where were you? At the port of Dunkirk, on board the SS Ballabrook. Well, that was nice of him. Is that the answer you're looking for, RYUUNOSUKE? Oh, you were joking. Cosima, what did you... I hadn't considered the possibility before, but if Cosima was there on the ship, then it could only have been for one purpose. Murdering people! Oh no, Mr. Naruhodo. Surely you don't think... Ha 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 ha. Psych. Oh, come on, RYUUNOSUKE. You know the rules. And so do I. The only thing that really talks in the courtroom is hard evidence. Let's see that sword tip of yours, by the way. As I understand it, Inspector Gregson always took that case with him when he traveled. So as it stands, you've proved nothing. Cosima, are you challenging me to prove it beyond all reasonable doubt? That you were there that day in the same place as the inspector? He was there with Gregson. That's a clue. There's a clue that you've overlooked. A secret that trunk can tell us. I can't be sure at this point. I need to verify it. But I have a nasty feeling that I'm going to be right. Don't. The accusation being made is deeply disturbing. But nevertheless, we must test it. It's a good thing Coffin Cuddles isn't here anymore. The unicorn torture would upset her. The defense will identify for the court where in the trunk this alleged clue is to be found. Okay, well... Where's the evidence that ties Professor Asogi to Inspector Gregson? I mean, it's Got to be this, right? Okay, it's not going to light up unless there's a thing. And the trunk is closed. And it's not going to be the blood, because that doesn't prove jack. Oh, come on, give me my icon again. Do it, do it. So, we're just gonna bluff and pray. Bluff and pray. This is the end of your sword. Maybe not Kuruma, maybe the other sword. This is your uh-oh. Did I get it wrong? This is your proof. What do you say to that, Professor Asogi? Personally, I think tying the defense counsel to the inspector's trunk and tossing it into the sea would be more... Did I lose? What? I picked the wrong thing? At least that way London's courtrooms would be safe from his destructive accusations. I believe that was a rather long-winded way of telling you that you're wrong. What? Let us see if you sink or swim under the weight of this penalty. I get a penalty for that? Did I need to open it first? Come the hell on. At least tell me what I'm pointing at then. Because it just gives me a highlight. Do I have to open it then? Ah, the unskippable text of doom. Okay, this angle? Is this better? It's the exact same thing, but from this side, is that okay? Because there's nothing else in here, right? I'm not overlooking something? I don't think anything else even lights up. Okay, assholes, how about this? There's a small piece of metal lodged in the wall of the trunk here. Like the tip of a blade that apparently you're all blind to from the other side. A blade? I'm in court with Stevie Wonder right now. Kazuma, slung around your waist as ever today, is the esteemed blade Karuma, or Karama. You've got two swords, don't you? Yeah, you do. Of course it is. Won't you draw it? Here in this courtroom? For all to see? Exercise caution, my learned friend. That man is the son of London's most notorious killer. Bailiff, watch Prosecutor Asogi like a hawk. Oh, he's not going to like that. That won't be necessary. He has two swords. Yeah, I knew it. Oh, it is off. Oh, no. The tip is broken. Boy, that thing's been handed down for generations, and you just broke it off in someone's cheap-ass luggage. How do you feel about that? If the fragment of metal from the trunk fits together with the end of the sword, the question of who was there with Inspector Gregson will be answered. Agreed, Kazuma Asogi? Expertly done, RYUUNOSUKE. That's a point to you, and well deserved. Can I have my life point back? Because that was some bullshit. Do you mean to tell the court, Professor Asogi? Prosecutor Asogi. I guess Professor Asogi works too. Blah ha ha. Yes, on 31st October, I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission. So the additional person authorized to travel was me. And the mission was the assassination of the Mark. Boy, you are forthcoming as hell. What? Jigoku, you hearing this? You mean you're the killer whose name was omitted from the notebook? You were following the Reaper's orders to dispatch Judge Jigoku? Boy, this organization is really lenient who they let join. I guess they just thought he was the son of the professor and gave him a pass. Dude's only had his memory back for a week, guys. Seriously. I have killed no one. Explain. I accepted the assassination mission, yes. Why would you do that? And I accompanied Gregson to Dunkirk. But I never had any intention of carrying out the plan. You were never going to do it? We can believe Kazuma, I'm sure. You'd like to. After all, Judge Jigoku arrived safely in London the following day. On the 31st, I boarded a train from London with Inspector Gregson. We traveled to Dover, from where we crossed the Channel to Dunkirk. Then we boarded the SS Ballabrook and made for the cabin deck, as indicated in the plan. You went to Judge Jigoku's cabin? Exactly. He wasn't there, though. We decided to wait, but you've already told us you had no intention of going through with it anyway. I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life, so I left Gregson and disembarked the ship. I spent that night at a boarding house in the town and returned to England the following morning. A boarding house in Dunkirk? My signature will be in the register book. It would be simple enough to verify. Then what became of Jigoku? Gregson was no assassin, so the mark was spared. I'm sure it's easy enough to imagine what happened after that. We get artwork? Nope. Gregson returned to England as well, having failed to complete the mission. He met with the Reaper in that town on Fresno Street to report the failure, causing the infuriated mastermind to pull the trigger and end his wretched agent's life. That's the real truth behind Inspector Gregson's murder. But if you did nothing as you claimed, how did the tip of your sword come to be lodged in the inspector's trunk? Yeah, no kidding. I don't need to answer that. You kind of do, though. You really do. The victim was killed by a gunshot. A small fragment of a Japanese blade isn't relevant to the case. And accordingly, I choose to exercise my right to silence on that matter. Be that as it may, the court will sequester the sword as evidence. Oh, snap. As you wish, my lord. It's in evidence, which means it's mine now, basically. We must take immediate action now to verify whether Seshiro Jigoku remains unharmed. What? Remains unharmed? We haven't technically seen him for a while, so that's actually a relevant question. I was wondering if he was getting up to stuff, but maybe stuff got up to him. I agree. That should be our first priority. And the sword is missing from his side there. Nice detail. It's recently come to my attention that he hasn't been seen since yesterday. Ah, snap. How did you... When a foreign dignitary invited to Great Britain goes missing for 24 hours. It's only natural that the question of his safety should arise. You don't mean to say that you think Judge Jigoku may have been killed? Dude, have you seen this guy? He's built like the Hulk. Who'd go after him? You'd have better luck going after John Wick. The Reaper has more than one assassin at his disposal, and he has the power and influence to give orders from the inside of a prison cell. Isn't that right, Lord Van Zeeks? If I were truly the Reaper, I'd have been able to tell you. Unicorn abuse! Order in the court! We will take an emergency recess for 30 minutes. Now? Guests of the symposium have been told to maintain regular contact with the organizer's office. If the man can't be located within half an hour, we will have to assume the worst. Oh no! Not Judge Jigoku! No one would want to kill a harmless Japanese man who'd only just arrived in the country. Except, that is, for the Reaper wanting to finish off a mark that slipped through the net 10 years ago. I would have to agree. Mr. Naruhodou, for the defense's sake. My lord? I sincerely hope we are successful. If we're unable to confirm Jigoku's healthy existence in the next 30 minutes, you will face grave difficulties. Oh, come on! We know the Reaper's going after these people. Doesn't mean my guy's the dude. Alright, just stop abusing the unicorn. To be continued? Trial part number 2? We're just going to stand here and wait 30 minutes? We have a room we can do this in. Kazuma, the Reaper's assassin. I feel as though I'm in a nightmare. I can hardly believe it either, but on the other hand, Kazuma isn't in the habit of making up stories. I have such a terrible sense of foreboding. If something awful has happened to Judge Jigoku, then I feel as though things will only spiral further and further out of control. I felt it from the moment I stepped into the courthouse this morning. That strange sensation that we were careening toward a foregone conclusion. Boy, that's going to be a problem because, I mean, Gina is still alive. Hairbrain's gone. Soseki's gone. If they're willing to go after Jigoku, then would they be willing to go after Gina? especially since she's causing trouble now. Maybe Gregson tried to make an exception for her just because he'd grown fond of her and had taken her under his wing, but now that things are going the way they are, the organization will be like, well, nuts to that. If Gina ends up dead by the end of this chapter, I'm going to flip a desk. Well, in the worst case, we might only have 30 minutes left. Unfortunately, though, I don't think there's anything we can do but wait now. We're out of options. Actually, there may be one last hand we can play. Or rather, one last ear. Of course! The little Holmes doll that Iris... Are we really going to throw this thing? If for some reason you completely run out of options in the trial today, and just pull this little Holmesy's ear as hard as you possibly can. It's got to be a smoke grenade. It's got to be. Perhaps now is the time. When no one else is here. Pull her... Now? There's no one here. Why pull it now? Why pull it here? Pull Harley's ears or not? That's our name for it. This seems like a bad idea, but I'm not sure if the game wants me to do it or not. Pull it or leave it. If I had more people in chat, I'd make it a poll. Huh. Can I save? Can I save? I can save. I'll save over this. It's not like this is relevant anymore. That save was a backup for something. I'm going to say leave it for now. There's no telling what my... Honestly, saying leave it, they may make us pull it anyway, knowing this game. For all I know, it could cause a huge explosion. I'm not sure you should be thinking like that, Mr. Naruhodou. Compared to the trial ending immediately after this recess, a huge explosion might be preferable. I'm not sure you should be thinking like that, Miss Suzuto. But I suppose you're right. If there was ever a time for taking a... Exactly, okay, so there was no wrong answer. It's going to make me pull it anyway. Alright, forget it. Why'd I even bother? Good luck, Mr. Naruhodou. No looking back. Heave! Ow. That scream! Sounded like... Was this a voodoo doll? Mr. Holmes. Mr. Holmes, where are you? What? What? Is this a radio? Or are we going to talk to Holmes? Is that what's going to happen? Here, my dear fellow, here. It's the felt doll talking? Pull the ears again, Mr. Naruhodou, as hard as you can. All right, then. I'll put all my strength into it. Heave. Oh. Okay, that's funny. 18th century pager, guys. Just literally yanks your ear off. Please, my dear fellows, you don't need to pull my ear off. Mr. Holmes, where are you? Is he on the... Is he on the Buria? Myself and my trusty partner are presently in the first-class cabin area of the SS Ballabrook. Boy, this looks an awful lot like the SS Buria. The SS Ballabrook? She left over last night, after the final pieces of cargo were loaded. What? Was that on a string? How did that work? Hang on, I gotta watch the stream for that. We are currently docked in Dunkirk, but due to be underway again in half an hour. Let me watch the stream back. It's on a delay. It's on a delay. It's on a very choppy delay. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, he literally yanks it and it strings back to his ear. Okay, that's cute. You've taken a ship to France? That confused me. Please, even with my athletic prowess, I would struggle to jump the Straits of Dover. After we left Baker Street last night, we hurried by cabin to the station and by train to the port, in order to board this vessel in time. You know, I was kind of wondering about something, because I've seen Mikotoba on this boat, and I thought it was going to be an escapade thing, because I was like, how in the world are we going to do Mikotoba boat stuff? We're in the final chapter. Well, now I know, because I have a feeling that's about to happen. So you mean you've already worked it out? That the steamship was where everything really took place? Mr. Naruhodou, pray, what is my name? Say my name. Sherlock Holmes, world-famous great detective. Certainly not Herlock Sholmes. That's BS. Recite it to perfection. Well done. You're a genius, Mr. Holmes. That's the only word for it. I'm just going to keep yanking your ear off because it's so much fun. Ow, 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 ow. Miss Susato, gently with the genius's ear, please. Oh my, I'm ever so sorry. Mikitoba? If I may, Holmes. Because you didn't say Mr. There's the string again. Ah, there you are, Mikitoba. You may remember that it was, in fact, I who made the connection to the SS Ballabrook. At Scotland Yard yesterday, when we examined the notebook and I recalled my steamship ticket. Ah, ha, ha, but of course it was, my dear fellow. And not once did I controvert that fact. I merely had our court-bound companions utter my name. Yes, you did, didn't you? We've just entered a recess. The trial resumes at 30 minutes from now. And if we're unable to present any new leads then, I'm afraid to say... Do not fret, please. It's for precisely that purpose that my partner and I have made this journey. I have no doubt we shall have welcome news for you within the half hour. Thank you, Mr. Holmes. That would be wonderful. Are we going to enter a timed section? Until then, later. Yeah, you'll be hearing from us if you're not in touch first. Stop yanking my ear! I shan't be hearing anything from you if you keep tugging my ear in that mindless fashion. Whatever was the idea behind making a receiver operate in that way in the first place, Holmes? It was Iris's idea. Why the deuce would I know? It's Iris's invention, not mine. Okay, we're going pretty nuts here. Whilst I know how much you enjoy being the hero of the hour, Holmes, we have but half that now before the Bellbrook puts to sea again. If we don't conclude our investigations rapidly, we shall find ourselves in Naples before long. I saw the text push off the end there. I wonder if Ballabrook was also a modded thing. Also, are we playing as Mikitoba now? I guess that would make sense, just design-wise. There are times, Mikitoba, when you make a surprisingly amount of sense. So, let us begin. Really? We're here, are we? First class cabin number 2. Yes, this is the one. But I don't believe an investigation of the cabin is going to be plain sailing. Do you enjoy stroganoff, perhaps? That crewmate standing in front of the door is an angry-looking fellow. Why, you're loitering here. Who are you? We are just going to assume I'm Russian because of all the other ones. My dear fellow, do you not recognize a world-famous great detective when you see one? The question really ought to be, who are you? Do you not recognize world-traveling great sailor Mabatov Stroganoff when you see? So he is a Stroga. Why does he have Holmes' name written on his arm? And it's not Holmes, it's Sholmes, but we'll ignore that. Mabatov. So last time was Beef Stroganoff. This guy's Mabatov. Mabatov Stroganoff. Is it just because it rhymes? Mabatov Stroganoff? Mabatov Stroganoff? Say it 5 times fast. Do you not recognize world-traveling great sailor Mabatov Stroganoff when you see? All right, we're going to take a real quick break while I check the door for something. I'm going to be right back. Hang on. Alright, we're back. I got to refresh my sparkling water as well. Got me another one of those. Why is your name still question marks? Also, why is Holmes written on your arm? We still need an answer to that. Great detective! Ha! I don't think so. Do you see that, Mikitoba? It would appear that this man is a devoted follower of mine. High quality tattoo. Goodness me. Is that a tattoo that says Holmes? I must say, while such adoration is flattering, naturally, it does leave me a little cold. No, it says H. Holmes. That's what it says. Sherlock Holmes. There you go. What are you talking about? Leave, now! How distressing. My loyal devotee knows me by my name and not my appearance. And yet, I already know a great deal about you, sir. Prepare for the Roomba. You have a brother, I believe. Like yourself, he's a shipman. Currently traveling the world aboard a Russian steamship, in fact. How could you know this? Elementary, my dear Mikitoba. I'm sure it was. I didn't even know. Was that Mikitoba that said that? I thought it was the Russian dude. Yeah, it was the Russian dude. Why are you addressing me? 3 days ago, I was bound for London aboard this ship, you see. We're looking for one of my fellow passengers, a man by the name of Jigoku. There is no one with that name on board. But we know that he purchased a ticket for passage. Like, lately? Or coming here? Ah, you mean Easterman. He left ship 2 hours ago. Oh, interesting. Here at Dunkirk. He said something about emergency, I think. What? Are you sure? So Seshiro realized that we're after him, has he? After him? What? His cabin is the one behind you. We should like to investigate, please. No! I have orders not to let even mouse inside. Is why Mousetrap is here. Mikitoba, be a good man and draw the sailor's attention away, would you? Make some excuse that he leaves the area. Did you say that in front of him? Doesn't the great detective see that even sailors have ears, both left and right? Curses! The plan is ruined! And you have only yourself to blame, I'm afraid, Holmes. Why do I hang out with you again? Forget it. The cabin door is locked. Even if I am not here, you cannot go inside. Mikitoba, I'm sure you haven't forgotten my special talent, have you? Opening any lock? Within a mere 5 seconds. Let me just pull the brakes on the ship here for a moment. So if you'd be so kind as to afford me the requisite time, old friend, in your typical accommodating manner. How could I refuse such a typical unappealing request, old friend? So I need to distract that burly sailor for 5 seconds, do I? Good man! So, the game is afoot! Hit the alarm? This would appear to be an alarm bell. All hell would break loose if that thing were to ring. The whole crew would know about it. Sure, why not? Here goes, then. Pardon me in advance. What? You! What are you doing? If we were at sea, that would be a very bad problem. What's going on down there? Seaman Stroganoff, report at once. Sorry, sir. Nothing to report. It was just stupid trick. No, not by me. By world famous... No, as I told you. Now, Holmes, now. Done! Not even 5 seconds, eh? Well, don't stand there gawping at my brilliance, Mikitoba. In we go. Oh, yes. Is the princess in here? The ballerina? Not a princess. Whoa. This place is out of time. I guess this is supposed to be a completely different ship, so it's not the layout perfect, but why has the warning sign been moved over? This doesn't look very first class, I gotta say. Some of it's a lot the same. This looks like Asogi's place. Good gracious. It would appear that the occupant of this cabin did indeed disembark rather hurriedly. Is there something stuffed in the thing? Those clothes on the floor. They're Shishiro's, without question. Well, it would seem we are just a little too late. Yes, by about 2 hours. Yeah, there's clothing stuffed in the mouth thing piece there. Still, while we're here, we should investigate thoroughly. There may well be 2 hours worth of clues to find in here. But that burly crewmate may return at any moment, Holmes. I mean, how is he not back here already? Indeed he may, which makes this all the more thrilling. Alright, well, first of all, what the hell's up with this? There's a speaking tube here, look, though it's been stoppered with some cloth. So the voices of the crewmen on the bridge aren't an annoyance, I suppose. Or indeed so that the voices in this cabin aren't heard elsewhere. Could something have happened in here that was for no one else's ears, do you think? Either that, or it could be to prevent snakes from entering. That's really becoming a favorite case of yours, hasn't it? Despite not remembering anything about it when asked. Quite the exquisite glass, I must say. See here, how it... Is something wrong, Holmes? You suddenly trailed off. Ice, Mikitoba, ice! What opulence the first-class passengers enjoy. Chilled drinks. I was about to say, ice. Is this how they kept Tobias's body chilled? Because this is the ship, right? Does that... we would have to conclude conclusively, then, that he is actually killed on this ship, and then chilled here, and then immediately moved to the apartment there. Pardon? Could it be that this steamship is equipped with an electrically refrigerated cold room, do you think? Well, it is a luxury liner, after all. They have enormous refrigerators for storing all sorts of lavish produce, as well as ice. On our voyage from Japan, we enjoyed culinary delights from all over the world. Suddenly, Mikitoba, the sight of you is making my mouth water. I haven't taken on the flavor of the food I ate, you know. Is this the trunk he was hiding in? They fill it with ice or something. That's a very sizable trunk indeed. Shishiro is partial to all things large. Yeah, no kidding. And a rather clumsy fellow, if he failed to notice he'd left that behind. Perhaps he left it on purpose. It's lighter than you might think, but still a hindrance to a speedy escape. Pity. It's locked, so we can't look inside. Surely 5 seconds from now the situation will be quite different, though. I like the way Mikitoba talks. He's got a way with words, much like his daughter. Sadly not. It has a 7-digit combination lock. And I'm not in a morose enough mood to work through all the combinations at present. Very well. Anything in the trash today? This is the waste paper basket. Look, and there's still rubbish inside. Indeed. Then let us pry. I've discovered recently I have a penchant for exploring the contents of other waste paper baskets. I sincerely hope open only for your own work. Ah. Here we have a notice issued to passengers from 3 days ago. 3 days ago? The night before we arrived in London, then. Is this the same room he was staying in or something? When I was still aboard myself. Following departure from the port of Dunkirk. Whoa, no, give me that back. Ah, yes, there was an evacuation drill. I remember now. For our safety and security, all first-class passengers were constantly under the watchful eye of the crew. So it was a welcome relief to have some privacy for once. Here we go. Tell me more about that drill. Dun, dun, dun. No! Court record! Court record, guys. I want my court record. Wait, I can read it on the thing. At 10 p.m. in order of 20 minutes. Okay, I saw it on the stream. Guys, I'm a time traveler. It's so sweet. Okay. Check this out. According to the report I was given, Naruhodou was concealing himself in a Sogi's wardrobe. Indeed he was, and it was of a similar size to this one. Ah, you must climb inside yourself, my dear fellow. What? Whatever for? It was the site of my first fateful meeting with Mr. Naruhodou. You can experience the moment for yourself now, complete with my dramatic rhetoric. Come along now, in you go. This will only take a moment. Really, Holmes, surely you can just tell me what you said. Party pooper? Well, I added some brilliant remark and opened the wardrobe to reveal the stowaway murderer. I think I'll just read about it in The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Alright, most of this hasn't been super interesting. I'm wondering about this. It really looks like it's been moved somehow. These are the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Additionally, there are severe punishments for stowing away in wardrobes and or travel cases. I feel the rules have increased since I last read them. Probably just my imagination. What about the fact that they're not straight on the wall? Does that strike you? You may be right. Probably just your imagination, though. A trifle. You know what I always say, Mikitoba? There is nothing important about trifles. It's probably just my imagination, but I think that might be slightly off. What about the place where the trifle used to be? The wall's a slightly different color just here. Do you see? Indeed. What you have observed arises when a frame that has been hanging for some time is removed. Perhaps your friend is an art thief. Now there's a bold deduction worthy of a great detective, I'm sure. He may very well be the elusive thief who've been plaguing France's galleries of late. I think perhaps we should focus our attentions elsewhere, Holmes, don't you? That outline on the wall. I feel as though I might have spotted something of a similar shape and size elsewhere. Do I need to re-examine? Never mind. I have triggered the cutscene. You are still here! Able Seaman Stroganov. Hello again. I was beginning to think you'd never materialize. You're waiting for me. Of course, I was expecting you to burst in with a hearty Russian profanity far sooner. I was in trouble with Captain because of trick you play before. Poor innocent Mabitov. It's all your fault. Ship is leaving port soon. Get off, now! Of course, we shall disembark presently, my dear fellow. But first, there is something that must be done. Are we going to ride around on a Roomba? What are you talking about? Why, naturally. The debunking of your deceit and the pouring of the truth. Yep, Roomba time. Kakoi! What does kakoi? What the hell does kakoi mean? I'm afraid I see through your lies. For one thing, Mr. Jigoku has not yet left this vessel at all. Is he actually in the trunk? And for another, my dear Seaman Stroganov, you know exactly where the man is, even as we speak, don't you? How can you... Good gracious, Holmes, you mean you've worked it out? All of it? Say my name. It's really been too long, hasn't it, old friend? 10 years, no less. So, would you care to join me for a dance of my inimitable logic and reasoning? We've got like 10 minutes left before this place leaves, Holmes. Just, nothing would please me more. I didn't take note of the 30-minute mark when we got the phone call, or the ear call from the rabbit. What is this? Where did Spotlight come from? We have but minutes until the vessel's put out to sea. No games now. Time is of the essence. Oh, we're just going right into it. Mr. Stroganoff, allow me to remind you of your earlier claim. You told us that Jigoku left the ship some 2 hours ago. That is what I said. Sadly, that was a rather clumsy lie. You see, there is something in this room that quite clearly contradicts it. What? Yes, of course. Oh, we're just speedrunning this. I see you noticed it too, Mikitoba. Then please, do take the lead. What in this cabin shows the impossibility of Jigoku having disembarked 2 hours ago? Let's see what the last 3 years have done to your observational skills then, Mikitoba. It's been 10 years since we last did this, Holmes, not 3. Why, of course it has, quite. Now, all the clues are here in this cabin for your eyes to see. But as I always say, you must not merely look, but observe. Observe, and the answers become clear. So, impress me. I think I can manage that. What if this cabin shows the impossibility of Jigoku having disembarked 2 hours ago? Okay, we don't have much to look at here. Why 2 hours specifically? Hang on a second. No! That's not what I wanted to do. I hope that putting present would let me look at the evidence. Mikitoba, no games now were my words, were they not? Come, Holmes. Where's the fun in life without a little fooling around? I want to see some cool fluff text. Ha ha ha! Quite right you are. Can I have my life point back? That was a close shave. I'd better rethink that before I'm the fool here. I was trying to look at the court record. Damn it. Jigoku didn't disembark 2 hours ago at all. That was a lie, wasn't it? Of course it was, and I had hoped you would be quicker to point out why. Otherwise, the evidence itself may melt away before our very eyes. Oh. Oh. Well then, that... Alright, well, to be perfectly fair, I had absolutely no idea what I was supposed to be looking for until he made that comment, but now I see. The ice hasn't melted yet. Okay, that would be the evidence. Alright. Fair play. Fair play. Thanks for the heads up. Thanks for the clue. I did need it. What? What? Was that necessary? I guess he doesn't have a Roomba, so he just does a little soft shoe. Perhaps you should have cleared away that glass. How curious that the ice shouldn't have melted despite it being abandoned 2 hours ago. Ah. It would appear that the man was here in this very cabin until moments before our arrival. With this well-chilled glass in hand. Get your mind off the refreshments, Holmes. One might even conclude that someone informed him of our boarding. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Stroganoff? I'm kind of wondering where this is going, because we've been going after Jigoku as a potential victim to warn him, but the way these guys are talking, he's in on some stuff. Like he's a guilty party. But why would Shishiro run away from us? Before we consider that question, allow me to confirm one small matter. Would I be correct in saying that these first-class cabins of the SS Ballabrook are the same ones in which you and Mr. Jigoku were accommodated on your voyage to Japan? Or from Japan. Oh, that's right, they are. So we were in the same room. I was in the cabin next door, and Shishiro was, yes, 50 days in this very cabin during our voyage. As I suspected, for you see, there are traces in this cabin of a dark secret that Mr. Jigoku had to hide. No clue on this either. What traces? I know nothing about this. This is news to you, is it, Mr. Stroganoff? Actually, hang on. Oh, we still can't see the court doc? I want to see the damn paper we digged out of the trash. Holmes, what exactly are you getting at? As I said, there are traces in this cabin of some nefarious activity. Something that appears out of place, which I'm quite sure wouldn't have escaped your notice. Something out of place in here. That's the key to this. That's the key to this, Mikitoba. The remains of the dark deed that took place in here are being masked by something quite incongruous. Is it the moved rules of passage? I must say, I didn't foresee ever doing this dance of deduction with you again, Mr. Mikitoba. I've missed your tap dancing. No, quite. But life is full of unexpected twists and turns, as we well know. Now then, let's see if I can't uncover the truth here. Yes, you have the floor, my dear fellow. So... this? Is there something in the wall behind? It's the only reason I can think of why you would ever move the rules. Like, it's so obvious that they've been moved. And why would you move them, and why wouldn't you put them back? And I don't know. I feel like this is probably it. I don't seem able to examine it. Alright, cool. Yeah, tap dancing. It's the rules of passage in this frame here. They're obviously out of place. The way they're hanging crooked on the wall, as if they were put there in a hurry. Yes, as I'm sure you've already concluded, that frame was originally over here. The shape and size are a perfect match. Duh, you were right. When did frame move? Hardly the most observant of crewmen, are you, Mr. Stroganoff? I would think your captain is quite justified in having his reservations about your reliability. Ah, you're a dick. Oh dear, that really seemed to touch a nerve. So, Mikitoba, why don't you lift that frame off the wall? Yeah, what is this gonna... oh, well, that's worth hiding, isn't it? That looks like a bullet hole. What? Who has been shooting walls? I see. The projectile has been removed. Clearly, the careful occupant of this room has already disposed of it. Now then, Mr. Stroganoff. I have the distinct impression that you're attempting to shield said occupant. I don't know what you're talking about. Why would I try to protect Eastern stranger? So we're talking about the same man, I see. Good. You are. I am stupid. He's right. I'm sure we can get to the bottom of this in no time. Aren't you? Because there's some very noteworthy evidence that explains the reason why you're lying for the man. Has it got something to do with the fact that Holmes is written on his arm, or does he have banknotes stuffed in his back pocket? Yes, you've been told to keep up this pretense by... I really don't know how to approach this one, Holmes. Ah, my dear Mikitoba, simply keep first principles in mind. Study your subject from every angle, and I'm quite sure that you'll see it. In fact, I'd put a wager on it. So I'm to glare at the fellow from all sides. Well, I can certainly do that. Banknotes? Banknotes? Money? Pocket? Yep. Literally exactly what I thought. Well, whatever it is, it's going to be behind him, and there's not much behind him, so... Tippity-tippity-tap. It's almost too obvious for words. Quite. The universal language of the world? Money. Ah! And I'd wager that the Eastern fellow in question is Seshiro Jigoku, yes? Ah! I give away everything with face. This is my giving everything away face. So I presume you realize what this means. There are clear signs that a crime has been committed in this cabin. And the way you're going, sir, you'll find yourself accused of being an accomplice. But money! I believe you know, Mr. Stroganoff. You know where Mr. Jigoku is hiding at this precise moment in time. And he looked straight at the trunk like a dumbass. As always, Mikitoba, in matters of deduction, the furtive glance is your unfaltering ally. Yes, I think you're onto something there, Holmes. You found the chink in this burly fellow's armor. We need only follow this man's gaze to know where our prey is hiding. The slight flicker of the pupils, a minutely delayed blink. Nothing escapes my attention, even that which is barely perceivable. You could hardly call this barely perceivable, Holmes. The man's turned his entire head. It's not exactly what you describe as a furtive glance, is it? It's almost too obvious. We shall let your tapping toes decide, my dear fellow. So, yeah, he's in the... Oh, this is all the moving I get to do? Okay, well, where else would he be? This is almost a mirror of the first case where we were deducing that someone wasn't in the trunk. It's like, well, now someone is in the trunk. Why do I need to do this every time I'm about to say something? You turned immediately to look at this large trunk, didn't you? Ah! The truth is, Seshiro Jigoku was unable to escape from the ship in time, and is at this very moment doing his best to stifle his breath inside this trunk. If he still has the breath to take, I fear he may be running dangerously low on air. I imagine he didn't count on us making a nuisance of ourselves for quite so long. I think it would be in everyone's best interest for us to open the trunk as quickly as possible. But how can we? Are you forgetting about the combination lock? We don't know the 7-digit code. We've got an axe, don't we? The combination lock can't be opened from inside the trunk. Therefore, there must have been an arrangement for someone to open it after our departure. That's why he's got S. Holmes written on his arm, because it's 7 letters. Of course. In short, before Jigoku hid himself inside that trunk, he must have told somebody the 7-digit number for the lock. As I'm sure you can confirm, Mr. Stroganoff. Does that... Yeah, those aren't letters. Those are numbers. That's a 3 and a 4. Okay, game. Clever, clever, clever. All right. I see you. No! I know nothing about the combination code. Don't move a muscle, my good seaman. And we're going to have to read it upside down, because he would have read it with his arm the way it is. It just happens to say Holmes for random coincidence reasons. Now, Mikitoba, would you do the honors and open the trunk? Okay, hang on a second. Let me notepad real quick here. Alright, so this mofo, reading upside down, it would be, what, 5, 2, 3, 1, 0, 4, 5. How on earth do you expect me... It's a 7-digit number. Remember. Quickly now. We have little time. You just do it your own damn self. Okay. It's actually... Alright. It only goes up to 5. Alright. Well, that makes things a little easier. No. 4. 1, 0... This is a clever puzzle. I like this. This tickles my fancy. Okay, so that should be right. Going from his point of view. Wait a minute. Did I put that in backwards? Wait, what the hell am I looking at? Okay, hang on a second. Oh, no, I meant to put that in backwards. Right, okay. That should be it. Take that. No? No, it's refusing to open. Tell me, what number did you use? Well, to begin with, I thought I'd try my birthday. Your birthday? Interesting, since as of today, with that absurd guesswork, you're dead to me. As measured as ever in response, Holmes. 2, 3... Oh, did I write it down backwards and then do it backwards again? Am I stupid? I'm probably stupid. Yeah, I wrote it down backwards and then did it backwards again. I'm a moron. All right. Correctly then. Wait. Oh, I got the 0 and the 1 back. Okay. That time I was... Okay, I'm going to get killed on this damn dominated line. And Jigoku's going to die. He's going to run out of all his oxygen. Okay. There. That should be correct. Yes, okay, finally. 2 dumbass moments. In a row. That did it. It opened. You had to meddle, didn't you? What is your story? What the hell are you up to, Jigoku? Well, Yujin, you found me now. Seshiro. Why did you need finding? What's going on? Why is there a bullet hole in the wall? I was really hoping beyond hope not to find you here, you know. But you're not entirely unsurprised, I take it. No, quite. I just wish it were some other way. Well, are you ever going to introduce me? Ah, your reputation precedes you, Mr. Holmes. I've read stories of many of your exploits. Excuse my manners, Holmes. This is Mr. Jigoku, my old friend and traveling companion. The devil's in the details, Mikotoba. I believe you meant to say your old friend and traveling companion who made the cowardly decision to flee the country without a word to anyone when things turned sour. Was he just afraid of getting shot? I see my reputation precedes me as well. What an honor. Well, Seshiro, are you going to explain all this? You know it all by now, I imagine. What you didn't know, of course, is that 3 days ago, on the night before our arrival in Britain, an attempt was made on my life here on this very ship. Ah, so he knew about it. Interesting. By the Reaper of the Bailey. Yes, I've since heard. Because you were once prosecuted by the Reaper, weren't you? 10 years ago now, mind you. And I had no idea at the time what a dangerous individual he was. Anyway, when we arrived in London to find the symposium was postponed until goodness knows when, it became all too apparent to me that I might very well be targeted again. So you decided to flee the capital without saying a word to me about it. I'm afraid so, yes. Of course, I realize now that I really ought to have confided in you. Holmes? Or is this someone else? Someone new? It's somewhat surprising, I must say. Well, it is just him. What is? Well, first-class cabins aboard luxury steamships are in very short supply. It's more than a little hard to believe that this one just happened to be available. So says the protagonist of some colorful short stories. Well, I don't care for your opinion. The cabin did just happen to be available, so I purchased a ticket, and here I am. I've just seen for myself the obvious remnants of that incident in this cabin, so you'd already purchased your return ticket before we even docked in Dover, had you? To prevent anyone else taking this cabin and seeing the evidence. Is that it? Yujin, I have nothing to say to you. Why not? We're trying to help you, dude. Well, in a mere 5 minutes, this ship will set off on its onward voyage and not make a port again until Italy. I'm afraid we must insist that you disembark with us at once. You have no jurisdiction over my movements. We have this, says Shiro. Take it. What is this? We never got. I haven't had a court record this entire time, I don't think. What is it? It's a subpoena from the Old Bailey. You're a man of the law. You know what the ramifications of ignoring a document like this from the British courts will be. Oh, he's a mad one. You came prepared then, Eugen. Come on, let's go. One moment. Wasn't that the document we found in the trash? We found something in the trash. What is it, Holmes? Inside Mr. Jigoku's trunk, I found this rather fascinating trinket. Oh, that's going to be from Gregson's pocket watch. What is that? Shishiro? I can't help you, I'm afraid. Some small component from something. But what, I have no idea. By the look on his face, I think he genuinely doesn't know. I mean, if things went down in this room, then it wouldn't surprise me if Tobias died here. He could have been shot here, but if he was, there'd be probably more blood, I would imagine. Well, let us pocket it as a small souvenir of our brief sojourn in France. It's been entered into the court record I don't have right now. Well, young Naruhodo, I think we've done as much as we can, I'm afraid. The rest will be on the shoulders of you and your assistant. Not my daughter, your assistant. This is some weird-ass trial stuff. Back we go. Kazuma Sogi. I know you, and I know you wouldn't lie, but still, there's no doubt that you're holding something back. You know more than you're saying. Ah, unicorn, I forgot about that part. During the past 30 minutes while this court was adjourned, all possible efforts were expended. But sadly, Mr. Jigoku's whereabouts could not be ascertained. We must accept the unfortunate conclusion that the Reaper has already done the deed. There's no sense in wasting any more of this court's time. The prosecution calls for an immediate verdict. No, the trial cannot end now. You're a Japanese man, RYUUNOSUKE. You should know when to lay down your sword. And you should know never to presume when the battle's won. The court has already been presented with all the evidence and heard all relevant testimony. Yeah, I guess Jigoku's testimony would be fairly important here. And there can only be one conclusion, that the accused is guilty. All relevant testimony? Far from it. There's still a crucial witness, from whom the court has yet to hear a single word of testimony. In that case, call your witness to the stand at once, counsel. Yes, my lord. Tomorrow, if possible. The witness is already on his way and scheduled to arrive tomorrow. Who on earth is this crucial witness? Seishiro Jigoku, the very man allegedly murdered by the Reaper. Judge Jigoku, you found him? Unicorn! But the investigations of every policing resource in the capital suggest that Jigoku is already dead. How in the name of God did you find the man? He was located in France during the recess, at the port of Dunkirk. Thanks to one of Mr. Sherlock Holmes' famous deductions. Sherlock Holmes. Inspector Gregson almost certainly met with Mr. Jigoku on the night of his death, because along with Professor Sogi, Gregson was on a mission to assassinate the man. Which means that Seishiro Jigoku is the sole witness who can clarify exactly what happened aboard the SS Ballabrook on the 31st October. Are we heading for a to be continued? Because it's a little early. Well, it would appear that it's too soon to move the adjudication at this point. dots and more dots. Huh. The prosecution concurs. The court must hear Mr. Jigoku's testimony. No judgment should be passed until all testimony has been considered. In that case, I hereby call the end of today's proceedings. Court will reconvene at the same hour tomorrow. No objections from either side? No, my lord. No objections, my lord. And Jean's just not even there anymore. She lost her badge. She's gone. We live to fight another day by the skin of our teeth. To be continued. What I'm probably going to do... It's been a little over 2 hours. I think... Let me double check something. I'm going to take a look at knocking something off my desk real quick, and then I'm going to take a look at something much more interesting, which is my schedule for the week. And I think my Friday is pretty open. I don't want October. I want November. That's the 12th. The 12th, I'm currently free. All right, you know what we're going to do? I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to stream on Twitch. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do anything on Wednesday because I'll be late at the office. I'll be late at the office Wednesday and Thursday, actually. I might do something tomorrow if I can think of something. But on Friday, what I probably will do is I just am going to do whatever the rest of this trial is, no matter how many parts. We're going to have a marathon session for a finale. And get this thing done, and that'll be nice. And then starting next week, which I'm really hoping the new computer will be done, then we're going to kind of consider that, you know, season 1 of Psy'Min Says. And then we'll start off with some new stuff. We'll look for some new games we can play. I'll have some more ideas of what to stream on Twitch. I definitely want to have some sort of hangout game, which is either going to be Terraria or Space Engineers or something else that I can just dick around in. And I'd also like to try some bigger game that I haven't actually had a chance to touch yet. Like maybe Skyrim. I've never played Skyrim, you know? It's just something that's sat in the Steam backlog for a million years, and yeah, it wouldn't be too bad an idea to have something to have as a long play. But there's also some story games I want to play. I'm actually thinking of playing a new game that I picked up not too long ago, and I forget the exact name of it. I think it's called like Chicken Police. Chicken Police, and then there's some subtitle on it. But it's a little... It kind of reminds me of things like Later Alligator and Aviary Attorney. I may even play Aviary Attorney once on Twitch real quick, again, just because it's a fairly short game. You can blow through it in a few hours. And then maybe play Chicken Police after that. But there's a few other games I want to play. I think there was something called Dark Side Detective that I have my eye on, something called Fatal 12. But that'll all be stuff for next week. So I'll tell you what, the only other thing I'll do this week... I may put out another hypnosis video because I haven't put out one of those in a while and I'm long overdue. I definitely want to put out another one of those. But we will finish this damn game on Friday. And boy, it's going to be like, I don't know how much of this game is left, but we have a lot we still have to explore. There's a lot of story we're going to have. So that may end up being like a 7-hour stream. But you know what? Let's just do it. Let's just make it happen. So I'm going to put my Friday aside. If I do have any clients, I'm going to make sure I schedule them for Saturday or something if something comes up. But we are going to see what happens there. We're going to wrap this up. And then hopefully next week it'll just be an all-new Psy'Min Says kind of rebranding with the new computer and new games and new stuff and more stuff on Twitch because I'm kind of skipping Twitch this week. Well, I skipped it a lot of last week on account of being busy. I still need to upload Amnesia: The Dark Descent, which I streamed on Twitch. It isn't on this channel yet. But lots to happen. Again, if you want to know what's going on, keep an eye on Twitch. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. make sure that you're keeping an eye out, because I do intend to ramp things up, especially with the new computer. That is kind of keeping me from doing some things that I want to do, just having this old potato here. So look forward to that. Take care. I'll see you next time. Hope you're enjoying the stream. I sure as hell am. I love this freaking game. But take care. And yeah, see you on Friday.